want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Beat in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab it and taste it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. No takes as they like to see. Just like the wind.
Ladies and gents, I am the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you to a very special edition Sunday stream. On the seventh day, the Lord rested because DJ Storms said, "Don't worry, big guy, I got this." Thank you, one and all, for stopping on by and spending your Sunday afternoons with the greatest man that has ever lived. I would like to welcome each and every single one of you to yet another fact-dropping stream. We're streaming live on 4 different platforms and 4 different accounts. As, of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy and the operator of the Best Damn X, formerly known as Twitter handle, known to mankind. And this is the official rewind for WWE Money in the Bank 2024, which of course streamed live on the Peacock, that is. Get your mind out of the gutter, you fucking savages. Peacock last night from the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Canada, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm glad that they're going back to 7 o'clock pay-per-views. I hope that AEW does the same. We have a lot to talk about, and I was very, very pleased with most of the material that we saw. This was probably one of the best weeks that wrestling has seen in a good while. We had a very good Forbidden Door. Monday Night Raw was a solid show. Dynamite was great. Rampage was probably the best episode of Rampage in about 4 to 6 months. Then you got Money in the Bank on Saturday, and Money in the Bank was perhaps one of the best bell-to-bell wrestling pay-per-views that WWE has put on this year so far. No joke. It had the best build of any WWE PLE so far, and from start to finish, every single match delivered in its own way. There was not a show without one minor issue. Although many people could say that it was a little bit of a major issue. Either way, it was one of the best WWE shows of the year from a bell-to-bell perspective. However, it did not come without one major creative mishap. Now, the creative mishap did not fuck up the entire show. We're going to talk about it in depth, and we're going to talk about what that creative mishap was. I see we got some people filing in. Thank you very much to DG70. How you doing, John Blaine? How you doing, Hoolagrim? We got the Final Hoss in here. How you doing, Sean? You guys are awesome, and as per usual, I greatly appreciate y'all stopping on by and choosing to spend your Sunday afternoons when you could literally be doing anything else, but you choose to watch me. You choose to watch me, and I know why you watch me. I know. It's because everyone needs a little bit of DJ Storms in their life. But before we get into what we're going to get into, obviously, you already know the drill, people. Follow me on X and Instagram at HistoryMakerDJS. One more time, at HistoryMakerDJS, because all I do is make history in everything that I do. You can also add me on my personal Facebook as well. For collaborations and business inquiries, please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Be sure to like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is, all of those links are in the description of this very stream, and of course, you can add me on Rumble. We're live on Rumble as well. Rumble is quickly becoming the hot spot for DJ Storms material, as I am the only major content creator that is looking to take over the app of Rumble. So go and check me out on Rumble if you have not already done so. Show me some support over there. Of course, please make sure, if you have not already done so, to like the stream no matter where you're watching it from, whether it be X, YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble, and share the stream out on all platforms of social media. Get as many people in here as possible so everyone can get their fill of DJ Shizzle Dizzle, because it is a known fact that I make people's lives better. I didn't make the rules. Yes, I did. In addition to that, please make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube, and hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace, because that way you are going to know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, oh, baby, it is the best motherfucking time to be on YouTube. Do you know why? Because it's the only time that you can get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. And of course, be sure to get in your super chats, get in your super stickers, get in your super thanks, become a member of the channel, and of course, get your DJ Storms merch, whether it be wristbands, t-shirts, or the greatest piece of merch that you will ever own, the DJ Storms Switchblade Comb. And just like me, you can be so good. You can be scrumptious tasty, and just like everyone wants a piece of the Stormsmeister, everyone's going to want a piece of you. And of course, when they take in that nice deep breath, when you step into a room and they breathe in that air and they go, oh, they would know that that is the smell of pure motherfucking excellence. Anyway, we have a lot to get into. And why don't we get straight into the festivities here? Money in the Bank in the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And Michael Cole falsely advertising the attendance. It was not 19,000. It was about 17,800. Fucking WWE and their fake-ass attendances. Swear to Christ. That shit is fucking annoying. I'm telling you, that is fucking annoying. But Trish Stratus, she came back, and she was the host for Money in the Bank. Pretty typical shit, having a legend come on in and host Money in the Bank if it's in their hometown. Really nothing of note. She was a complete non-factor throughout the show. We kicked off the show with Jey Uso versus L.A. Knight versus Andrade El Idolo versus Carmelo Hayes versus Chad Gable versus Drew McIntyre. This was the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. This went about 16 minutes, and it was a pretty good match, I would say. Matter of fact, it was an awesome match. For 16 minutes, these six guys got a lot of shit in. Although I was expecting a little bit more, I'm not going to discredit what these six guys put themselves through. This was pretty fucking brutal. Had a couple of good high spots, and they made a case for a couple of people. To win this match, but when it was all said and done, it was Drew McIntyre who won this match. So we had some intense spots early on. Andrade with a reverse Spanish fly to Carmelo Hayes on the ladder. Crowd was chanting, holy shit. Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre went at it. Jey Uso delivered a Samoan drop on McIntyre. Chad Gable then took everyone to Suplex City, German suplex all around. The crowd chanted, you still suck. LA Knight then bounced Carmelo Hayes' head off the table. We had a ladder bridge between the apron and the table. We had a code breaker by Carmelo Hayes. Crowd was chanting, this is awesome. 2 ladders were set up in the ring. We had an ankle lock between the ladders by Chad Gable, which was fucking awesome. Drew McIntyre then stopped Gable, Every single time Drew McIntyre was in control, the crowd started chanting CM Punk, CM Punk. We had a Claymore to Andrade, BFT by LA Knight, diving splash by Jay. Jay and Knight then went up. We had a brawl on top of the ladder before Carmelo Hayes. He came in. He broke that up. He hit a tope con hero on Gable. Nothing but net on Jey Uso. Andrade then stopped Carmelo. We had another ladder bridge set up. And Andrade, with a sunset flip powerbomb to Carmelo Hayes onto the ladder bridge. And Carmelo Hayes was effectively taken out for the rest of the match. LA Knight then went up. Gable stopped him and delivered a belly-to-belly suplex over the top rope onto the second ladder bridge between the apron and the announce table. Again, great spot. Gable went up. Uso then stopped Chad Gable by moving the ladder. Chad Gable was hanging by the hook from the briefcase. Chad Gable could not hang on, and he fell all the way to the floor, abdomen first. I'm surprised if he didn't break a rib. Triple H claimed that nobody was injured. I am shocked that Gable didn't break a rib. Jey Uso with a spear. And Jey Uso, he looked to grab the briefcase. He was there. He went up for it. But Drew McIntyre threw a ladder into Jey like a javelin. Then he delivered a Claymore, sending Jey to the floor. Drew McIntyre went up. Drew McIntyre unhooked the briefcase. And Drew McIntyre is Mr. Money in the Bank for all but 60 to 70 minutes. And we're going to talk about what took place later on in the show, because what took place later on in the show was a complete waste of time, no matter what anyone wants to try and tell you. Drew McIntyre winning Money in the Bank was a waste. Drew McIntyre winning Money in the Bank was a waste. It didn't need to happen. And a lot of people in the IWC really made themselves look like a bunch of fucking idiots trying to defend what took place later on in the night during the World Heavyweight Championship match. And I don't know if it's just the WWE fans being WWE fans and just being blissfully ignorant. I don't know if it's a new type of thing to try and praise everything that WWE does. I don't fucking know. But either way, the IWC looked like a bunch of fucking idiots, at least half of them. The other half looked like geniuses because they were saying the exact same thing that I was saying, with it being a complete waste. And we're going to talk about why it was a complete waste when we get to the World Championship match. How you doing, Matthew? How you doing, Drew on the beat? Greatly appreciate both of you stopping on by. We got 20 people in the chat right now across 4 social media platforms, and we are just 15 minutes into the stream. Very, very, very pleased with the turnout so far, and I'm sure we're going to get plenty of more individuals making their way into the chat as the stream goes on. Thank you very much for stopping on by. You guys are fucking awesome. But nevertheless, this was a very, very, very good ladder match. Very good ladder match. The crowd was hot. The crowd was into it. Everyone got their shit in. The outcome was just wrong. So I'm not going to let a wrong outcome ruin what was an awesome ladder match for what it was. And we'll talk about what happened later on in the night. We have a couple more things to go over before we get to Rollins and Damian Priest. So from there, the referees and the officials started to clean everything up, and we got set for the Intercontinental Championship match between Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker. I was looking forward to this match. I'm pretty sure a lot of people were looking forward to this match. And this was going to be Braun Breaker's biggest test on the main roster so far. And I am pleased to say that Braun Breaker passed the test with flying colors. Braun Breaker passed the test with flying colors, and Braun Breaker looked like a fucking superstar coming out of the Intercontinental Championship match with Sami Zayn. Even though he didn't win, his stock rose several notches, and I do believe, based on everything that's been going on, I predict that Braun Breaker will be Intercontinental Champion before the summer is over. So we get Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship. These guys were put in a little bit of a tough spot following that ladder match, but these two individuals delivered a very good Intercontinental Championship match. I believe this was the first time that these two have ever fought, and these two have matched up very well together. I was slightly shocked, but at the same point in time, I wasn't shocked because it's Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn could lead a fucking broomstick to at least a 4-star match. But Braun Breaker, he was using his power against Sami Zayn early on. Sami Zayn then hit the Arabian Moonsault Press. Braun Breaker with a stiff lariat and a couple of belly-to-belly suplexes. Sami came in with a wristlock tornado DDT, which looked very nice. Braun Breaker was sent to the floor. Braun Breaker caught Sami Zayn when Sami tried to moonsault off of the barricade, and we saw Sami Zayn send Braun Breaker headfirst into the post. Sami Zayn then was caught with another big lariat on the floor. Back in the ring, Braun Breaker was caught with a Blue Thunder Bomb. Braun kicked out. Braun Breaker ran up the ropes and delivered a beautiful, and I mean a beautiful, Frankensteiner to Sami Zayn. Probably one of the best Frankensteiners I've seen him hit. So the crowd was chanting, "This is awesome, this is awesome." Braun Breaker went for the spear. Sami dodged it, but Braun stopped himself before he could send himself into the steps. Sami Zayn was placed against the announce table, and Braun Breaker with a jumping clothesline off of the apron onto the announce table. Very nicely done. Back in the ring, Braun may have tweaked his knee, and I thought that that was going to come into play later on, but it really didn't. Sami with an exploder suplex into the corner. He went for the haluva kick, but Braun Breaker caught him in midair with a jumping knee strike a la Roderick Strong. I don't know if Braun Breaker's been taking some lessons from Roderick Strong, but he hit a very nice flying knee. Braun Breaker hit the Gorilla Press Slam. Braun Breaker then mounted himself in the corner. He went for the spear. Sami hit a big boot to the face. Sami with the haluva kick on the money. 1, 2, 3. Sami Zayn wins and retains the Intercontinental Championship in what was a very good match, one of Sami's best matches as champion so far, and easily Braun Breaker's best match on the main roster. Braun looked awesome in defeat, although I was a little shocked. That Sami Zayn won the match via a haluva kick. That was the one thing that surprised me. I had Sami winning this. Sami winning this was the right outcome. No doubt about it. Braun Breaker did not need to win the title now. Sami deserves just a little bit more time with it. However, I had it in my mind that we were going to see Sami Zayn exploit a weakness in Braun Breaker, or Braun Breaker would hesitate just a little bit too long, and then Sami would get a quick roll-up on Braun Breaker, and then that would facilitate a rematch at SummerSlam. Some people are predicting that it's going to be Kaiser, Sheamus, Braun Breaker, and Sami Zayn in a fatal 4-way match at SummerSlam. Now listen, that would be interesting. That certainly would be a damn good match. That would be a banger of a match. However, I'm not sure where Kaiser and Sheamus would fit into this, because Braun Breaker, he was the one that was going after Sami Zayn, and Sheamus did not get enough momentum. Neither did Kaiser. They didn't have enough momentum to be challenging Sami Zayn. But then again, this is WWE, where wins and losses apparently don't matter. I would not be against the fatal 4-way. I don't think anyone would be against the fatal 4-way. No one should look at a fatal 4-way like that and say, oh yeah, that's going to be a bad match. No, of course not. It'll be a good match. However, Braun Breaker getting the one-on-one match and Braun beating Sami Zayn in a stadium for SummerSlam, that would work out a lot better. That would come off a lot better, and Braun would come off as a bigger deal that way, as opposed to winning a fatal 4-way. However, I'm going to stick to my guns, and I'm going to remain in the camp of a singles match between Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn at SummerSlam. That is the best way to go, as opposed to a fatal 4-way. Braun Breaker will be your new Intercontinental Champion at SummerSlam. But here at Money in the Bank, Sami Zayn retains. Sami is doing the IC title well. You're not going to take it off him yet. You're going to give him just a little bit more time because Sami Zayn has proven that he is making the Intercontinental Championship mean something. We saw it at King and Queen of the Ring. We saw it at Clash at the Castle. We saw it last night at Money in the Bank. Sami is developing a nice resume for himself as the Intercontinental Champion. Every single match that he has had has been a very good match, or you could even argue that some of his matches have been the best matches of the night. I would argue that Sami, Bronson Reed, and Chad Gable stole the show at King and Queen of the Ring. I would argue that Sami and Chad Gable outdid both of the world title matches at Clash at the Castle. Just saying. Sami Zayn retains. This was the right outcome. Braun is going to be a big deal. Believe me on that. Mid-Mo Smark. Mid-Mo Smark. Thank you very much for stopping on by. Thank you very much for stopping on by. Hunter Dillon 95. You guys are awesome. Please make sure, if you haven't already done so, be sure to send in your super chats, your super stickers, your super thanks. Become a member of the channel and be sure to share the stream out on all platforms of social media so that way we can get as many people in here as possible. 24 people watching across 4 different platforms. You guys definitely make me and DJ Storms all worth it. Moving on to the next segment here. Trish Stratus came out to address the fans again. Now, I didn't really know where they were going with this, but Trish Stratus brought out John Cena. He got a little return pop here in Toronto, Canada, and he came out to the ring to get the crowd hyped up. He said, tonight, I officially announce my retirement from the WWE. So the crowd was going, no, 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 no. He says, there are a lot of questions. Well, why here? Why am I announcing it here? I want to talk about the Canadians. I have seen incredible waves of prosperity, and I have seen tremendous hardships, said Cena. Canadians always show up, whether the WWE is hot or cold. All of you built this, and it makes this the perfect place. It's Money in the Bank. This farewell doesn't end tonight, said Cena. I will be there when Raw goes to Netflix. We will be building unforgettable firsts and unforgettable lasts. 2025 Royal Rumble will be my last. 2025 Elimination Chamber will be my last. 2025 WrestleMania in Las Vegas will be the last WrestleMania. I will compete. Don't miss the press conference. I want to say thank you. So the crowd was chanting, thank you, Cena, thank you, Cena. Cena said, thank you for letting me play in the house that you built. Thank you for your voice. Thank you for your brutal honesty. Thank you for allowing me to be here with you. If you who are watching at home, or if you're live here, if you want some, hurry up and come get some, because the last time is now. And Cena bade farewell to the Toronto faithful. Now, originally when Cena came out, when Cena initially came out, I was thinking to myself, what the fuck is this? What the fuck are they doing here? Why are we wasting time with John Cena when you have other matches on the show that deserve more time? Why is Cena taking up time from the other matches on the show when Cena is being brought back merely for a cheap return pop? But then he started talking about his retirement, and I'm thinking to myself, all right, if this is what they want to do, and this is the way that they're going, I'm going to let him speak. Everyone is in agreement when they say Cena will go down as one of the all-time greats. Not one of the greatest of all time, not the greatest of all time, like Michael Cole shills to the audience. He's not the greatest of all time, but he is one of the greatest of all time. Not many people are like John Cena, who have been able to carry the WWE through a PG era, not even a PG era, a G-rated era. A G-rated era following the Attitude Era, and Cena took that spot, he ran with it, and he ascended to heights that I don't think anyone has ever seen before. He ascended to heights that no one gave him credit for. No one even gave him a fighting chance, but he proved a lot of people wrong. And in that aspect, Cena deserves respect. In that aspect, Cena deserves a lot of praise and a lot of admiration. There are a lot of individuals nowadays that wish they could be like John Cena. Not even Cody Rhodes is like John Cena. Cody Rhodes is John Cena light, but not even Cody Rhodes can generate the buzz like John Cena generated back in the day. I do believe that when Cody Rhodes turns heel, he is going to generate a lot of buzz going forward, maybe even more than a babyface John Cena. That's for sure. However, as far as right now goes, everyone here is in agreement when I say that John Cena will always be a special professional wrestler in our hearts growing up during our childhood, whether we were cheering him, whether we were booing him. And now that he's hanging it up and he's going out on his own terms, that is a great thing, because there's not many individuals that get to go out on their own terms. Now, here's the question. What happens going forward? Who does John Cena fight? Well, he did elaborate on his retirement tour. His last match is not going to be at WrestleMania. His last run is going to be between January 2025 and December 2025. I don't know how they're going to lay this out. I'm not sure how they're going to follow through. But if you're asking me, if you want to get a big-time WrestleMania match for John Cena, I would say Gunther would be the best possible candidate. Gunther and John Cena at WrestleMania? I don't know about you, but that sounds like a big, and I mean a big money match. John Cena has announced his retirement. His retirement tour is going to take place across the entirety of 2025. The question is, who is John Cena's last opponent? I don't know. I can't really give you a straightforward answer as to who his last opponent should be, but I can give you a suggestion. I can give you a good prediction on who his last WrestleMania opponent should be. Gunther is all but confirmed to win the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam. I don't know about you guys, but Gunther and John Cena, that is a big money match. The present versus the past. And Gunther solidifies his World Championship reign by potentially beating John Cena, or maybe Cena wins number 17. Either way, Gunther and Cena at WrestleMania 41 would be a perfect match for Cena. His last match, I've seen people throwing it around. Some people have been saying Randy Orton. Some people have been saying Cody Rhodes. Some people have been saying do one more match with The Rock, Cena versus Rock Part 3. There are a couple of things. That we could do. Either way, I'm sure a lot of people are going to sit and enjoy what John Cena is going to conjure up, and I'm glad he's going out on his terms. Damian Priest and Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. One other criticism I'm going to throw out. The World Championship should have main evented the show. If you were not going to close out with the World Heavyweight Championship, then you should have closed out with one of the Money in the Bank ladder matches. That is a big miss. Big miss right there by Triple H. We did the same thing last year. We had the Bloodline Civil War. Think about this. We had the Bloodline Civil War main event Money in the Bank last year over the World Heavyweight Championship and both Money in the Bank ladder matches. Now we do the same thing again this year with Cody Orton and Owens versus the Bloodline? I'm sorry, but that is disrespectful to the Money in the Bank concept, and that is incredibly disrespectful to the World Heavyweight Championship. Rollins and Priest would have been the perfect match to close the show. Now we get this World Heavyweight Championship match. Priest and Rollins. They were doing very well. Priest and Rollins, they were actually putting on a great match. If they were given a little bit more time, this may have been Damian Priest's best match as the World Heavyweight Champion. So, Priest, he was laying in the heavy shots early on with a broken arrow and a leaping flatliner for a 2. We had a suicide dive by Rollins, a second one and a third one. Priest was sent over the table. We had a super kick by Rollins. Springboard swanton into a lion salt. Rollins is mixing it up a little bit. Priest with a headlock driver. Big lariat. Rollins with a big boot. And a frog splash. 1, 2. Priest kicked out. Rollins then went up top. Priest followed him. Priest was then hit with a buckle bomb. Priest then caught Rollins with a sit-out powerbomb of his own. Rollins was able to kick out. Both men traded strikes. Back and forth. Rollins with a super kick. Rollins with a leapfrog into the curb stomp. Rollins went for the cover. 1, 2. Priest kicked out. Then, all of a sudden, we had Priest coming back with a razor's edge. 1, 2. Rollins kicked out. Rollins then with a superplex. He went for the Falcon Arrow, but it was countered. Priest went for a broken arrow. That was countered. All of a sudden, we had the Falcon Arrow connecting by Rollins, and I don't know what the fuck happened here, but this must have been a botch on multiple parties, whether it be the ref, whether it be the technical crew, or whether it be Damian Priest. This was a botch of epic proportions right here, similar to what we saw back at Dynamite Grand Slam with Jon Moxley and Rey Fenix. Rollins hit the Falcon Arrow, and Damian Priest did not kick out. So much so the referee had to stop it. The referee stopped his hand, and he said 2. It was just 2. So much so, Rollins was looking around like, what the fuck is going on? And then as Rollins was looking around going, what the fuck's going on? Drew McIntyre comes out. And now they're trying to get things back on track after Damian Priest's unfortunate botch. So Damian Priest botched what we saw. Unfortunately, that's what people are going to harp on. And that right there is not fair to Damian Priest. That's not fair to Damian Priest because Damian Priest has been doing great as the World Heavyweight Champion. And it is not fair. It is not fair for anyone to be harping on Damian Priest after he's been putting on some quality matches. Up until that botch, this was a quality World Championship match. This world title match was very, very good up until that botch. I think it may have had something to do with Rollins knocking Damian Priest loopy. I'm not sure if it was a technical issue. It could very well have been a technical issue. Maybe the technical crew was supposed to hit Drew McIntyre's music as Rollins was going in for the pin on Damian Priest. Damian Hernandez says that botch was worse, if not equal, to Hell in a Cell botch 2019. Let me tell you something. The botch looked bad, but nothing, absolutely nothing was as worse as Hell in a Cell 2019. Don't even bring that shit up. Hell in a Cell 2019 was one of the worst creative decisions that the WWE has ever fucking made. So Damian Priest botched the kick out. Damian Priest botched the kick out. Drew McIntyre's music hits. Drew McIntyre comes strutting down to the ring. Absolutely no sense of urgency at all because he knows he's got this. He's got this cocky fucking expression on his face. He cashes in and he makes the match a triple threat match. So we get the bell ringing again. The bell rings. It's a triple threat match. Drew McIntyre goes to the ref, cashes in. He goes for the Claymore. Super kick by Rollins. Rollins goes for the stomp on McIntyre, but Drew McIntyre catches him with a future shock DDT. Damian Priest then comes out of nowhere, delivers a lariat on Drew McIntyre. He throws Rollins out of the ring, so Rollins is taken out effectively. Priest, he goes for South of Heaven. Drew McIntyre just connects with a slight little Claymore. Priest falls out of the ring, and then all of a sudden, CM Punk comes out of nowhere and attacks Drew McIntyre, beats the shit out of him, hits him with a steel chair, and then he chokes him out with the cable wire. Drew McIntyre's trying to make his way back into the ring. CM Punk, now they've got everything back on track. CM Punk, he takes the championship, bashes Drew McIntyre in the head with the championship. CM Punk then sits on the announce table, and Michael Cole's going, Phil, what the hell are you doing, Phil? What the hell are you doing? Drew McIntyre is goozled by Damian Priest. South of Heaven choke slam, and Damian Priest gets the victory. 1, 2, 3. So it started out as a high-quality match. The botch threw things off. Drew McIntyre then came out. They got things back on track, and they ended up ending it the way that it should have ended. Damian Priest retains as he should. There was no way you were going to take the title off of Priest just to put it on Rollins for 4 weeks and then have Gunther take it off of him. Priest was always the right man to win. And on top of that, it's disrespectful to Damian Priest because Damian Priest has been working his fucking ass off in this world title reign, and you're just going to take it off him just to give it to Rollins and then to give it to Gunther. Priest has earned a match with Gunther. Now, I'm not sure what happened with Damian Priest's botch, but it looked awful. I'm glad that they got it back on track, but that botch did not look good. I want to say it's mostly on Priest, but I don't know what was supposed to happen. I'm not sure if we were supposed to see Drew cash in mid-pinfall. I'm not sure if Rollins actually knocked Damian Priest loopy. I don't know. We may never know. However, Drew's cash in with CM Punk costing him. I'm going to break this down. And I want you guys to understand the logic behind this. Because I do not attack any situation like this with opinions. I attack it with facts. Did what we see make sense? Was the cash-in and then the screw job by CM Punk, did it make sense? Yes. Did it enhance the tension between Drew and Punk? Also, yes. Was it well executed? Again, yes. Yes, it was well executed. However, the one question that I want you guys to ponder on is this. Was it necessary? The answer is no. It was not necessary. I don't care what you want to say. I do not care what kind of excuses that you want to bring up. It wasn't necessary. Drew McIntyre cashing in Money in the Bank only to have CM Punk screw him. It made sense. It enhanced the tension between the two of them, and it was well executed, but it was not needed. I'm sorry if that doesn't sit well with you. I'm sorry if you don't like it, but that is the truth. It was not necessary. There are people literally going out of their way to try and justify what we saw and Drew McIntyre winning the Money in the Bank only to lose it. They're trying to justify that as a good decision. I'm sorry, but what the fuck are you watching? I don't care what kind of excuses you want to fucking pull out of your ass. The Money in the Bank contract for the men was wasted. Well, why was it wasted, DJ Storms? It's quite simple. It's quite simple. You take a look at what Drew McIntyre was doing with CM Punk. They have done more than enough. They have done more than enough to build up the tension and build up the heat between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. Way too much to build up between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. They have done a lot over the course of the last several months. This has been building since January. Punk already cost Drew McIntyre the Royal Rumble. He then cost him the world title at WrestleMania, allowing Damian Priest to cash in. I mean, holy shit, he robbed Drew McIntyre of a hometown world title victory. That was all that you needed to do. That was all that you needed to go based on in order to justify a world championship match being fucked over by CM Punk, and then we get Punk and Rollins, or excuse me, not Punk and Rollins. We get Punk and McIntyre at SummerSlam. Whether you want to admit it or not, the Money in the Bank contract was wasted. I understand LA Knight is going after Logan Paul. I understand LA Knight's going after Logan Paul. I understand that Jey Uso is not a world championship caliber wrestler. He's not a singles wrestler. He's a tag team wrestler. Andrade hasn't been built up enough. Carmelo Hayes, it's way too early for Carmelo Hayes. But I mean, holy fuck. Chad Gable was right there. Chad Gable was sitting right there, and you bypassed him to waste the Money in the Bank contract on Drew and Punk? Drew and Punk did not need any more of a buildup for their match at SummerSlam. I'm sorry. Anyone that wants to claim that it was done the right way and we got rid of the Money in the Bank briefcase correctly and it built up the story between Drew and Punk. Yes, it did, but it was not a necessity. The tension was already at a fever pitch. The tension was already at a high level amount of heat. And Chad Gable, he has been far too good for far too long with little to nothing to show for it. And anyone that wants to claim, oh, well, Chad Gable, why does he make sense here? I don't know if you guys have been thinking about this, but Chad Gable got fucked over at WrestleMania and they gave Sami Zayn the opportunity to beat Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. Are you telling me you would rather bypass the opportunity of seeing Chad Gable win Money in the Bank and then Gunther wins the World Heavyweight Championship, holds it till next year's WrestleMania in Las Vegas, and then Chad Gable gets his ultimate revenge on Gunther for making his children cry? Chad Gable gets his ultimate revenge on Gunther for making his children cry. Chad Gable cashes in Money in the Bank on Gunther next year at WrestleMania. And Chad Gable wins the World Heavyweight Championship by becoming only the third man in WrestleMania history to cash in Money in the Bank at that show. That would have catapulted Chad Gable into the next stratosphere. That would have made Chad Gable into a fucking megastar. And then, this is even worse. Do not even get me started on this. There are legitimately people trying to go out there on social media, putting it out there in the world of professional wrestling, putting it out there in the IWC, oh, Chad Gable is not a world championship caliber wrestler. I mean, holy shit. Holy shit. I have not heard something as dumb as that in a good while. Chad Gable's not a world championship caliber wrestler. How? How? The man carries himself like a world champion. The man delivered multiple world championship level promos in his feud with Gunther and his feud with Sami Zayn. The man has never even been involved in a ladder match before. And yet he was in his element last night. Matter of fact, Chad Gable made that ladder match better than it was. Chad Gable went out there and made that ladder match a lot better than it should have been. But Chad Gable's not a world championship caliber wrestler. I'm sorry. If anyone is trying to say that Gable is not a world championship caliber wrestler, you clearly have not been watching what this man is capable of. And I am going to need you to take your stupidity out the door. Your retardation is not welcome in the IWC, and you do not deserve to be discussing professional wrestling. Who the fuck are you trying to convince? Are you trying to convince other people, or are you trying to convince yourself that Chad Gable's not a world championship caliber wrestler? What a fucking stupid thing to say. What a fucking ridiculous thing to say. It doesn't matter what you want to say. It doesn't matter if you enjoyed it. It doesn't matter if you didn't enjoy it. Was it enjoyable? Sure. Was it executed well? Yes. But it was not necessary to use the Money in the Bank briefcase to enhance the feud between Drew and Punk. It wasn't. It was not a necessity because the feud was already at a fever pitch. If you wanted to have Punk screw McIntyre again, you could have had Drew get screwed over in the ladder match itself, not the cash-in. If Drew would have been fucked over in the ladder match, it would have been just as effective, and you still could have done the same exact angle on the post-show with Drew McIntyre flipping his lid, going after Adam Pearce, and then Wade Barrett is holding him back. You could have done the same exact thing if you had Punk cost McIntyre the ladder match rather than the cash-in itself. Because what they did is they wasted yet another opportunity to build a long-term story between Gable and Gunther, and they bypassed the opportunity to make another new star. And this, what I've been saying for God knows how long, this is one of the biggest issues with WWE TV. WWE, they do not know how to put any effort into anyone other than their main stars. How many individuals, I want you guys to think about this, how many individuals on WWE TV are being treated well? I mean, the undercard individuals, people that are not named Cody Rhodes, people that are not named Rhea Ripley. They're not the Judgment Day, not Rollins, not Drew, not Punk, not the Bloodline. That's what I want you to think about. There are only two. There are only two individuals that are in the undercard, two new stars that WWE are legitimately investing in, Braun Breaker and Tiffany Stratton. I'm not trying to make this some sort of tribalistic war, but again, when you look at AEW's side of the fence, the one thing that AEW is doing better than WWE, they are investing more in new stars. They are investing more in individuals that do not have the star power that others have. You take a look on AEW's side of the fence. They're investing in the new stars. Stars like Jack Perry. Stars like Mark Briscoe, The Acclaimed, Mariah May, Willow Nightingale, Chris Statlander, Daniel Garcia, Kazuchika Okada, Will Ospreay, Jay White, The Guns. All these individuals that do not have any affiliation with WWE whatsoever. None of these individuals even stepped foot in WWE. And yet all of these individuals are being gifted spotlights on AEW TV, and they're being built and set up to be the future of the company. Some of them are the present. Some of them are the present. Then on WWE TV, you take a look at the landscape. When is Chad Gable going to get his just due? When is Karrion Kross going to get his just due? When is Candice LeRae going to get her just due? When is Dakota Kai going to get her just due? When are the authors of pain going to get their just due? When is Andrade going to get his just due? Damian Hernandez, Jey Uso would have been a better Money in the Bank winner than Chad Gable. Whoever is a mod right now, get Damian Hernandez out of the fucking chat. Get this fucking retard out of the fucking chat right now. This individual is pissing me the fuck off. Absolutely fucking retarded ass take right there. Jey Uso is beneath literally everyone else in that match. Jey Uso would have been the worst possible option. Get Damian Hernandez out of the chat right now. I do not want to see another comment from him in the fucking chat. Whoever is a mod, get him out of the chat this instant. Thank you. Thank you, Hooligan. I am not going to sit here and shit on the execution of what they did. I can't shit on it in the sense that, oh, it didn't make sense. It did make sense. I'm just telling you the truth of the matter, that it was not necessary. It wasn't. No matter what you want to tell yourself, no matter how much you want to convince yourself that it was necessary, it wasn't. It was not necessary. And whether you want to admit it or not, the fact of the matter is that they wasted the opportunity to build a new star in Chad Gable. And then people continuously want to try and make excuses. I swear to God, the WWE fan base is the dumbest portion of the wrestling fan base that I have ever fucking seen, trying to make excuses as to why Gable isn't a world championship caliber wrestler. Why? Because of his size? Like Daniel Bryan didn't win the world championship in the main event of WrestleMania 30? Like Rey Mysterio wasn't a multi-time world champion? How about CM Punk? Drew McIntyre dwarfs CM Punk. But yet no one seems to bat an eye when CM Punk is in a big match scenario. No one complained when CM Punk held the world championship for over 430 days. I'm telling you, if there's one thing that the WWE needs to get straight, they need to focus on building up new stars. They need to focus on taking away, not even taking away, or at least scaling back on the amount of effort that they put into guys like McIntyre and Punk and Rollins. Those guys are made men. It doesn't matter what you do. Those guys are made men. We need to put more effort into a guy like Chad Gable. More effort into a guy like Santos Escobar. More effort into guys like Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. I mean, holy fuck. Bayley is a made woman and her fucking title reign's been terrible. I'm telling you. You know what happened last night? What happened last night with Drew McIntyre being fucked over by CM Punk again? That only fueled the narrative and fueled the argument from the other half of the IWC that has been saying that Money in the Bank should be taken away permanently. And I am slowly migrating into that camp. I can't even believe that I just said that, but I'm slowly migrating into that camp. What happened last night was a complete waste of time. It was a complete waste of effort, and it was a complete waste of the Money in the Bank briefcase. Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, that feud did not need any more tension than it already has. Meanwhile, you had Gable right there, who has been way too good without anything to show for it. You could have had him win the briefcase, Gunther wins the world title, and then you could have cashed in Chad Gable's briefcase on Gunther next year at WrestleMania and made Chad Gable into a megastar. Instead, you used it to fuel a feud that didn't need any more heat than it already has. What they did at Clash at the Castle was enough. What they did at Clash at the Castle was more than enough. Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, it was well executed. No one will deny that. but it was a complete waste of the Money in the Bank briefcase and concept. I'm telling you, shit like that really pisses me off. Shit like that really pisses me off. Hooligan, it's not even the show that's the problem. Hooligan, it's not even the show that's the problem. The problem is Triple H does not know how to book and produce Money in the Bank, nor does he know how to book and produce a Royal Rumble. The last two Royal Rumbles have been two of the most boring Royal Rumbles that we've ever seen. The last two Royal Rumbles were absolute dog shit. As far as Money in the Bank goes, Triple H, he had the opportunity to restore some prestige in Money in the Bank. He did a good job with the women. He failed with the men. I have no problem. Money in the Bank getting its own show is not a problem. That is not the issue. The issue is not utilizing the concept correctly. The issue is utilizing the concept as a mere stepping stone for a feud that already had enough heat to begin with. Either way, I'm not going to try and discredit what we saw. The world title match, minus that botch by Damian Priest, it had a lot of energy, it had a lot of heat, and the right man won. So, in that sense, I can't really bitch and complain too much. But giving Drew the briefcase just to have CM Punk cost him, come on. We could have seen that shit coming from a mile away. Completely and utterly unnecessary. Those are the facts. You don't like it? Tough shit. That should have been Chad Gable's match to win. And anyone that's going to try and tell me that Chad Gable's not a world champion, I'm going to need you to see your dumb ass out the door and don't fucking come back. Don't come back. Hope you guys enjoyed that little rant there. I'm fucking sweating my ass off right now. I swear, I gotta go home and I gotta fucking take a shower after that. Swear to God, I'm sweating my fucking ball sack off right now. Zoe Stark, Io Sky, Naomi, Tiffany Stratton, Lyra Valkyria, and Chelsea Green. This was the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. The winner gets the contract. Now, I was very pleased with the layout for this match. The layout for this match was very, very good. We had a lot of new faces. We had a lot of new stars. Now, all we needed to do was have the match go well in execution. And it was a beautiful thing to see. The women went out there and they went balls to the wall. We got a ton of crazy shit. Matter of fact, I'm going to go out on record and say that this was probably the best women's Money in the Bank ladder match that they've ever produced. Matter of fact, I would even put this over the men's match. Not even going to bullshit you. I give all my props to the ladies. Even Chelsea Green, who I cannot fucking stand. Chelsea Green is a fucking annoying bitch, but at the end of the day, she deserves her flowers. She deserves her props. She deserves a fucking pay raise after that final bump that she took. So Io drop kicked the ladder into Chelsea. Lyra back body dropped Io into the ladder, looked absolutely fucking brutal. And I mean absolutely fucking brutal. We had a DDT by Lyra and a fisherman suplex on the ladder. So Io was taking some bumps here. Zoe with a Samoan drop on the ladder. Springboard moonsault by Naomi onto Stark while she was placed on a ladder. So Tiffany Stratton came in. Tiffany Stratton then with an Alabama slam to, I believe it was Naomi on the ladder. The crowd was chanting, Tiffy time, Tiffy time. We had Tiffany Stratton with a swanton bomb off of the top onto the floor, onto the field, which looked very nice. Chelsea went for the briefcase. I thought I was going to fucking have a heart attack. I swear to God, I was going to fucking have a heart attack right there. Io stopped her. Io stopped her. Lyra was hung upside down on the ladder. Io stomped her on the ladder. Lyra then with a bridging German suplex, sending Io crashing off of the ladder, which was great. The crowd was chanting, this is awesome, this is awesome. Naomi with a DDT to Stark. Naomi then went up for it. Tiffany Stratton followed. Naomi was sent out of the ring, and Naomi brought out a table. 2 tables were then set up by Chelsea Green and Tiffany Stratton. Stark, Lyra, and Io all went for the briefcase. We had 2 ladder bridges. We had 2 ladder bridges set up. Lyra then powerbombed, or she was powerbombed by Zoe onto the ladder bridge. Lyra was powerbombed by Zoe Stark onto the ladder bridge, so Lyra was effectively taken out. Naomi then went for the briefcase. But Chelsea Green stopped her and delivered an unpretty her onto the ladder, so Naomi was effectively taken out for the time being. Zoe Stark went up. Io Sky followed her. Both women were on the top, and in perhaps one of the most brutal ladder spots that you will ever see, male or female, Io Sky delivers an avalanche Meishinuku driver off of the ladder to Zoe Stark onto the ladder bridge on the other side of the ladder. Zoe Stark completely fucking crumbles in a heap. I thought that Zoe Stark's spine was fucking cracked in half. Absolutely fucking cracked in half. It looked absolutely brutal. That may have been the best spot of the entire night. That may have been the best spot of the entire fucking night. That was awesome. Props to Zoe Stark. My fucking God. My God, that was brutal. So, Chelsea Green, she went for it. Chelsea Green looked like she was going to get it. Chelsea Green went up to the top. She was about to unhook the briefcase. She was about to unhook it. But Tiffany Stratton was right there, and Chelsea Green went flying through the air. The ladder was tipped over. Chelsea Green, this crazy bitch, went flying through the air, through the 2 tables on the floor. Chelsea Green absolutely crashed in a heap. Tiffany Stratton went up. Tiffany Stratton unhooks the briefcase, and Tiffany Stratton is the new Miss Money in the Bank. And if there was one way that I could describe what we saw, I would say this was a gorgeous car crash. I know, it's a fucking oxymoron, but that's exactly what it was. It was a gorgeous car crash. Absolutely unbelievable. The best women's Money in the Bank ladder match that we've ever seen. And abso-fucking-lutely, the right outcome. Absolutely the right outcome. Tiffany Stratton is going to do great as Miss Money in the Bank. And I would not be shocked at all. If we see Tiffany Stratton cash in at SummerSlam. I would not be shocked if Nia barely gets the job done, or if Bayley manages to squeak out a win against Nia at SummerSlam. And I would not be shocked if Tiffany swoops her way in and Tiffany gets the victory over Bayley and Tiffany becomes the new WWE Women's Champion. Tiffany is an absolute megastar. Tiffany is going to be a big fucking deal. Tiffany has improved leaps and bounds from when we first saw her in NXT, and she's only getting better. And she's not just a pretty face either. She ain't just a pretty face. Tiffany can fucking wrestle. Tiffany is a fucking women's wrestler. She ain't no fucking supermodel turned wrestler. She is a legit wrestler. Tiffany is going to be a great women's champion when she cashes in. That is going to be one hell of a moment. Excellent match from start to finish. Awesome, awesome, awesome stuff. Every single woman deserves a pay raise. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to bullshit you. The women made a case as to why they should have closed the show. I'm not even going to bullshit you. The women made a case as to why they should have closed the show. Tiffany wins. Right outcome. So at least, they got one Money in the Bank winner right. At least they got one Money in the Bank winner correct. Main event. The Bloodline. This is Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Jacob Fatu. The infamous Tongaloa, he was not in this match. He was at ringside. And obviously we can see why he is the infamous Tongaloa. The infamous Botchaloa, if you will. But the Bloodline, they took on Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, and Cody Rhodes. Crowd was chanting, "We want Roman." That seems to be a common theme. Owens went after Tama Tonga. Orton got him a piece of Tama Tonga before Jacob Fatu came in. Jacob Fatu, he suffered the draping DDT by Orton, and then he popped right back up. Randy Orton went for the RKO, and then he slowly looked up. Jacob Fatu's got this fucking menacing look on his face. He's looking like he's ready to beat someone half to death. Great spot right there. So the crowd was chanting, "Fuck you, Solo." Gotta love it. I love those types of chants. That's how you know you're doing well as a heel. "Fuck you, Solo" chants. Owens lit up Tama Tonga with a cannonball. Swanton bomb. Jacob Fatu saved it. Fatu then isolated Kevin Owens. We had a hip attack on Owens. Owens fought back. Tongaloa took out Randy Orton. Owens was still at the mercy of the Bloodline. Owens finally got the tag to Cody. He lit up Solo with a flying forearm and a power slam. Disaster kick on Solo. Cody cutter on Tama Tonga. Tope Suicida on Solo. Tope Suicida on Tongaloa. Tongaloa, I will say this. Tongaloa took a nasty bump back first into the announce table, and he sold it. He sold it as if his soul left his body. That was great. So, Cody Rhodes sent Jacob Fatu into the timekeeper's area. Solo hit Cody Rhodes with a spear. He hit Cody Rhodes with a spear. 1-2, Cody kicks out. Solo accidentally took out the ref. Cody hit the crossroads, but there was no ref. So Orton and Owens decided to get their pound of flesh. Frog splash by Owens on Solo. RKO on Solo. Cody went for the table. They went to do the Shield-style powerbomb through the table. In came Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu, then he was trying to get control of the situation, but he ended up sending himself into the referee, so the ref got squished between the steel steps and Jacob Fatu. Kevin Owens then placed Jacob Fatu on the table, and Kevin Owens with a frog splash off of the barricade through the table. The crowd was chanting, "This is awesome. This is awesome." Tongaloa came in, and he had to do it twice. But he ended up getting the low blow, the infamous Botchaloa. So Botchaloa hit the low blow. Randy Orton hit an RKO on Tongaloa, so at least he got that one right. We had a Samoan spike to Randy Orton. We had a crossroads on Solo. Cody went for a second one. He got it. He went for the third one. And then Jacob Fatu, out of nowhere, runs up the corner and delivers a whisper in the wind that would make Jeff Hardy jealous. Whisper in the wind by Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu with an Impaler DDT. Solo, then with the Samoan Spike. Jacob Fatu put the referee back in. The ref counted 1, 2, 3, and the Bloodline get the win over Cody, Orton, and Owens here at Money in the Bank. Now, this was a great match. Overbooked as all fucking hell. Overbooked as all hell, but it was a great match. Now, why did this match take place? It's quite simple. This match took place because the direction, unfortunately, is Solo versus Cody at SummerSlam. And that would probably be the return of Roman Reigns. That's probably going to be the return of Roman Reigns. It's going to be at SummerSlam in Cleveland Brown Stadium. Now, I don't want anyone to misconstrue anything. Solo is great. Solo has taken over this role, and he has played his role beautifully. However, you can't just lose 34 matches in a row. You can't just lose 34 matches in a row, and then all of a sudden after WrestleMania, now you decide to switch up your game plan. Now WWE decides to book Solo Sikoa correctly. Now all of a sudden we're supposed to take him seriously after he lost 34 matches in a row? No, it takes time. It takes time to build someone up like that. Solo is great, but it's not a SummerSlam match between Solo and Cody. Why? Because Solo hasn't been built up enough. Even with this win at Money in the Bank, and the win did do good for Solo. No one's going to deny that. The win did good for Solo, but it's not enough. Remember what Cody Rhodes said about Solo Sikoa back during the build-up to WrestleMania 39? He said that Solo is not ready. And it holds true now. Solo's not ready. I don't give a fuck what anyone wants to say. Even though this was a great match, and even though Solo got the win here, he's not ready. Now, if Cody fought Kevin Owens here at Money in the Bank, and then he went to fight Randy Orton at SummerSlam, then at SummerSlam, we got Roman versus Solo, with Solo beating Roman. That would have made a lot more sense, and a win over Roman would have abso-fucking-lutely put Solo into that next stratosphere, and it would absolutely have boosted Solo's credibility enough to a point where he would look like a legit threat against Cody. But this is not a SummerSlam match. I'm sorry. It's not. This is a Bad Blood match, or a Bash in Berlin match, or a Crown Jewel match. That would be the proper setting for Cody versus Solo. But SummerSlam? I'm sorry. If you're going to go with SummerSlam in stadiums now, right? You're going to go with SummerSlam in a fucking stadium now, and you're going to have the main event be Solo and Cody when Solo hasn't done nearly enough to be in a primetime spot? I'm sorry. That is a major, and I mean a major fucking miss. I'm sorry. Solo and Cody is not a SummerSlam match. Solo's not ready yet. He's not. And if Roman ends up returning at SummerSlam, I'm going to end up asking the question, well, let me ask you this. Why didn't you just have Roman return on the SmackDown following Money in the Bank, and then we could have built up Solo versus Roman at SummerSlam. Why didn't you have the Bloodline cost Jey Uso Money in the Bank? And then we could have been off to the races towards getting the Usos back together and getting Roman paired back together with the Usos. Then we'll actually have a legit Bloodline Civil War, not the bullshit we got last year. Whatever we got last year with the Bloodline Civil War was complete and utter garbage. That was as forced as you could get. Now, with Roman back, if Roman came back and they attacked Jey Uso, and then we got the ball rolling there with Jey potentially reforming with Roman and Jimmy coming back, then it would have felt more organic. It would have felt genuine. But Roman coming back till SummerSlam and we're getting Solo and Cody? I mean, come on. Come on. Hunter, if you're watching, you can do better than that, bruv. You can do a lot better than that. Regardless, this was a great show, minus a couple things here and there. This was a great bell-to-bell wrestling show, perhaps one of WWE's best bell-to-bell wrestling shows of the year so far. And I was very, very happy with the content that we got, and everyone that fought at Money in the Bank last night should be very, very, very proud of themselves. Very pleased with what we got from a bell-to-bell standpoint. Minus a couple things here and there, minus Drew winning Money in the Bank, minus Damian Priest's botch, and minus the fact that we had the six-man tag closing out Money in the Bank and not a world title match of some sort, or the Money in the Bank ladder match. Minus that, this was a great professional wrestling show, and WWE did a great job at building towards SummerSlam. SummerSlam seems to be all fleshed out. The only thing that I am disappointed in is the fact that we're getting Solo and Cody. And I'd like to hope, listen, I want Solo to succeed. And I really do hope that Solo brings out something that we haven't seen before. I genuinely hope that Solo brings out a new side of him. And I hope that he brings out that intensity that we need Solo to have when we get to SummerSlam. Because if he doesn't, man, that main event is going to shit the bed. Ladies and gents, that's all I got for you. That is all that I got for you. And I hope you guys had a great time. We're clocking in at an hour and 20 minutes. This has been the Rewind for Money in the Bank. Thank you very much to Grega John, Hoolagrim, Mid-M-O Smark. Thank you very much to Matthew. Thank you very much to Sean. Thank you very much to Dylan. You guys have been awesome from start to finish, and we're clocking out with 34 people, a solid 34 people right now watching across all platforms of social media. You guys have been awesome all weekend, and we're going to continue that going forward this week, because this week we got ourselves 3. You heard me correctly. We got 3 major streams. On Tuesday, it's going to be the Rewind for NXT Heatwave at 8:30 p.m. Rewind for NXT Heatwave. Then, on Thursday at 8 p.m., it is going to be the Savage Storm Wrestling Super Show, episode number 5. Me and Savage are getting back into the swing of things. And then this Saturday, LFU, as we head towards Blood and Guts and Death Before Dishonor for AEW and Ring of Honor. And then we head to SummerSlam, and then we head to All In. The summer is getting hotter and hotter by the day. And until next time, I'm DJ Storms. This has been the Rewind. But before we get out of here, y'all already know what I'm going to ask you. It's a very important question that everyone needs to answer. People, who runs the IWC? Let me take a sip of my ice water. Oh, I'm going to tell ya who runs the IWC. Who? But DJ motherfucking Storms. And don't you ever forget it.
retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.